A huge welcome to everyone. I'm Kim from improvability.tv, and you are very welcome to this training, which is called Colour, Confidence, Power, and Potential. The reason I want to talk about this is this has become very obvious through conversations, Facebook posts, emails I'm getting. I want you to start thinking about the potential of colour, the power of colour, and never, ever to underestimate that. This isn't just for your clients. This is for you as well, because colour changed my life completely and utterly. I would not be sat here now. Well, obviously, that's a stupid thing to say, Kim, but I would not be sat here running the kind of business I'm running, whether it was colour and style or coaching and mentoring at all, if I hadn't had my colours done. Colour saved my life. I just please don't underestimate the power of what you do. Nobody comes to you for colour analysis. That's just your process. What they're coming to you for is far deeper than that. And I hope to inspire you to get up off your rear end, your butt, whatever you call it, and get out there and change other people's lives. Especially now, during these peculiar, weird times, people are looking inward. They're looking at what they're doing with their lives. Maybe you are as well. Maybe you're wondering if this could be for you, or wondering if the training you've done in the past you could pick up again and turn into something fabulously uplifting, enlightening, life-changing. Yes, for your clients, but for you as well. Do you realize that? Do you realize what we have at our fingertips? We have power, the power to change our lives and the lives of our clients, but also the lives of everybody we come into contact with, because this is the ripple effect that I talk about a lot. When you change, you affect other people throughout the world. They say that when a butterfly flaps its wings in San Francisco, the effects are felt in Tokyo. Of course they are, because we're all energy. We're all affecting each other. So this isn't just the clients you see. This is who they see. This is who else you spend your time with. This is powerful stuff. Don't ever underestimate it. So I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to tell you some real life stories, because I think they're always the way forward. If you've got the real life stories, tell your clients the same, or borrow mine. I don't mind. They're true stories. I don't make things up. I don't need to. Talk about my life as a soap opera. I could write a script, a film script about this. And I'd like to inspire you to get out there and just flipping do it. Because if these times have taught us anything, and they should be teaching us a lot, there's no time to faff about. Life is simply too short. Just get on with it. Oh, I'm so bossy. Anyway, I'm going to tell you a story. Are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. One Christmas, long ago, I reckon this was about 11 years ago. Frightening. This really is very frightening. Now, that summer, I had been modelling for another friend, a mutual friend who ran a shoe shop, which then began to sell clothes and accessories. And we were modelling together for Margaret at a very posh hotel in the middle of Derbyshire. Beautiful. It's a Tudor building. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. And I'd been modeling alongside this other image consultant who I will call Brunhilde. Now, she'd been trained by another company, another well-known company who set up in the UK, and she kindly invited me to a Christmas party for her clients. Now, all the guests, apart from me, had been color coded by Brunhilde into one of the four seasons because this company don't really do tones. One of the ladies I noticed, obviously, I was introduced to them, all very lovely. But one lady really took my eye because she was, to me, an obvious winter. And she had beautiful silver blonde hair. Now, back in the day, my hair was really dark, almost. It was very brown, very dark brown. This is my incarnation from, I can't remember. This is at least 9 years old, so it was before then. Now, this lady was clearly a cool winter with her silver blonde hair, but she was dressed from head to toe in one colour, which most winters don't really look very good in. And she'd chosen a very soft raspberry, which again, not really a winter colour. And the thing was, I noticed so much because she not only had the dress and the jacket to match, but even her stockings were raspberry, and her shoes were raspberry, and her handbag was raspberry. And I guess maybe her gloves and her scarf and her coat were raspberry as well. I don't know. But I noticed her. Why? Because she was an obvious winter and she looked so bland and dour. And she looked very fed up, actually. Not surprised. Where was the contrast she needed? Where was the brightness that she needed? Very, very strange. And it seemed to me that obviously she was wearing these colours because Brunhilde had told her to. And she told me, this poor, drab looking client, well, I was a winter when my hair was dark, but now I've gone grey and had my hair coloured silver white. Brunhilde says I have to be a summer. Well, I nearly choked on my mince pie. I mean, this is just. But my mum did bring me up properly. I didn't explode there and then, but I seethed inwardly for the rest of the evening. And I went home with a headache that had nothing to do with alcohol because this naffs me off. This is all based on a poxy system. The older I get, the more outspoken I get. That makes it really easy for the consultant, but doesn't take the client into account. It's just pompous preaching poppycock, and it makes my blood boil. So what I did, I arranged to meet up with this lady, and we went for a coffee. And I wanted to just chat to her and say, because at the party, I said to her, I don't think you're a soft-muted summer at all. She said, what do you think I am? I said, well, I don't think this is really the place to discuss it, do you? This is Brunhilde's home. It's her territory. It's not my place to come, even though as a red, I'd like to. So we arranged to meet up for a coffee because she really wanted to know. You see, when I was dark-haired, I was a bright winter. Now I've gone silver, white, pearl blonde, as my hairdresser calls it. I've just coloured it a few days ago. So it goes a bit sort of silvery, a bit sharp to start with, and then it settles down. So it is like a pearl blonde. So I knew, I've been through this myself, that you just become a cool winter and you wear the cooler versions of the winter colours rather than the brighter versions. So in my case, I used to wear black, red, and white. Now I wear pink, white, and black. And yes, navy looks good. I quite like it. But it's taken me at least 10 years to get navy back into my wardrobe because I was very happy with the black. But there are things happening to me in my personal development journey, and I know that a softer, dark, neutral navy is becoming more relevant to me now. And this is all part of taking your client into account, isn't it? Anyway, that's what I think. So I told that lady, I said, you're just a cool winter now. You've not changed your winter colours. You've perhaps softened some of them, sharpened some of them up, maybe lost some of the stronger, brighter colours that you used to wear. Or maybe you can wear them. Who knows? There are no rules. Let's find out. She hadn't changed her season at all. She didn't suddenly become a summer. Although I've had people tell me, oh, well, you've got blonde hair, Kim, therefore you've got to be a summer. What absolute tripe. And the reason that this lady felt she had to conform to Brunhilde's diagnosis was because all her friends were part of Brunhilde's neat little circle of clients. They'd all been to one of these days that they do. And of course, this lady was feeling terribly unconfident wearing soft raspberry from head to foot. She knew it didn't work, but she didn't know how to go against what Brunhilde had told her because she wanted to continue being included in this group in the future. And this is a major point I want to make. Ta-da! The power of peer group pressure must never be underestimated. So I was talking with, Susanna earlier about this. I'm sure you won't mind me saying about when we were talking about springs, weren't we, Susanna? About spring, a spring client. And Susanna said, why do spring clients say that they don't like bright colours? And I like to offer a different perspective. And I put it to Susanna, and I'm sure Susanna will agree or not because it's her business, not mine. But there's a lot of peer group pressure going on, and we are still 20 years later in this wearing these soft, muted colours. I'm not, because I don't follow fashion, but people who are in a peer group who do what the group does to belong. It's very important to the majority of people. And 20 years ago, in the 90s, more than 20 years ago, this started this Hollywood bland blonde look. Jennifer Aniston has a lot to answer for. I'm sure she's a dear, sweet woman, but when she had her hair coloured this soft, muted caramel colour, because actually she's got dark brown hair and she's got bright green eyes, and naturally she's a bright spring. But you don't see that, and you haven't seen that for over 20 odd years, because when, for the Friends character, she became this soft caramel with the tan skin and the pale makeup, and we've still got it. I can't tell you. There are a group of, how shall I put this, enlightened image consultants, hair colorists, hair stylists, cutters, people in the fashion industry who are absolutely sick to death of this because we've still got the bland makeup. You go onto any of the shopping channels and can you find a bright lipstick? Can you find a pink blusher? My God, it's like looking for blood. It's just really, we're still stuck in this era that has gone on and on and on with the straight hair as well. You know, the straighteners, the hair industry, those in the know say, how much longer is this going to go on? That everybody straightens their hair. They straighten their hair because that's what the group does. The peer group conforms to the fashion trends, which come from Hollywood, and everybody does the same thing. It's so when somebody says to you, a bright spring or a bright winter, well, no, a bright winter probably wouldn't, but a bright spring probably would say to you, I don't like bright colours. As I said to Susanna this morning, I go, ding, 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 ding. There's an alarm bell goes off. She's a member of a peer group. She's doing what the group wants. She's conforming to belong. Listen, I've been there. I know what this feels like because I didn't belong anywhere. I've tried to join groups of all sorts because I thought you had to belong somewhere. And I have failed miserably because I don't belong anywhere, because my approach as a strong red is I don't belong to groups. I don't follow fashion trends. I've no interest in what's in the shops. And I don't want to work with people, personal clients, who want to follow fashion trends. I'm very clear on my ideal client. But I wasn't. And so when I started out and when I spoke to this lady at Brunhilde's party, I was still in that mindset of learning about the pressures that peer groups can bring. So if you get this from your client, you need to discuss with her what she wants to do about it. Does she want to change? Does she want to stand out from the crowd? Is she a dramatic dresser or a creative dresser? Because if she is, she won't mind standing out. I never want to look like anybody else. Thank you very much. I don't want to behave like anybody else. I don't want to sound like anybody else. But that's not perhaps what some of your clients want. So if you have clients who do want to belong and are still finding their feet and find the safety and security of belonging to a group, a tribe, or whatever you want to call it, if that's part of their makeup, you have to honor that. You have to ask, don't assume anything. Don't assume that they will come in here today and you'll tell them that actually, like this lady, you're actually still a winter. And so let me show you these colours, these cool winter colours that you'd look fabulous in. You might not be able to do that leap today. She might need time to go away and think about it. She might need some baby steps to get her there. Me, as the bossy red, I want everybody to change overnight. I've had to learn to shut up, Kim. Get out of the way. This isn't about me. This is about the lady you're talking to, the group you're talking to. And if peer group pressure is part of their life, they won't see it in that vein. That's my observation. That's my explanation to you. They will see it as, well, this is what the group does. And I want to stay a part of the group because I feel safe and secure there and I know what I'm doing. When I encourage people to step outside of that group, I have to help them with the consequences, which I'll mention shortly. So when, as I say, when a peer group says, go this way, I automatically go the opposite way. I've always said, if you tell me to stand in a blue circle, I will choose a red square every time because I'm just a rebel, a maverick. I've been called a maverick. But that's just me. I know I've had to learn that my clients aren't all like that. I am in a small minority. So this is about encouraging you to stuff the system and put the client first. So if you've got a system that puts people into boxes, can I encourage you, because you might not have trained with me, and that's absolutely spiffy doodless. I have no problem with that because I don't run a franchise. You can do what you like. But this is encouraging you to treat each client with courtesy and respect, and to put her first and to listen to her. So you have to weigh everything in her life. You've got to ask her about her budget and her lifestyle and her own moral baseline, which might be different from yours. You have to discover her physical colouring. And in my book, you have to understand her personality. I cannot possibly work with a lump of meat. I have to understand who this woman is, where she is now, where she'd rather be. And how am I going to find that out? By talking with her. Well, hopefully asking a couple of good questions and letting her talk so she can get it all out. And then, as I said, talk to her about the consequences of what will happen if she does make changes. So we mentioned this briefly when we were having coffee with this lady. And I said to her, so if you start to wear winter colours again and you start putting the contrast back and you start wearing two different colours, how will this go down in your peer group? How will you answer those questions? Will you be comfortable when people start questioning why you're dressing differently? And she said, no. And you could see it in her face. And her whole body language, she almost curled up. This is why I love body language, because you can read people without them saying a word. So what is going to be affected when you ask your client to wear different colours? Can she handle that leap today? I doubt that many people can. I'll tell you who can, creatives, and they won't come to you. Why would a creative want to consult an image consultant? I mean, this should be a question on Mastermind, shouldn't it? This needs debating in an Oxbridge setting. I just can't see why a creative would consult an image consultant, and yet they're the people who will. The gin levels are really low. Clearly, the only people who would move from there to there today is probably a creative. A dramatic might try something overnight, but she won't try everything. And the naturals, they won't go for it. Not in one fell swoop. They will need baby steps. And the classics, they'll have to do it step by step. So then you've got the romantics and the Europeans. I think it's going to be phase 1, followed by step 2. Don't you? There aren't many clients you can say, this is what you should be wearing, go and do it. It just doesn't work. So what are the consequences for your client? As I say, this isn't just, it isn't about you at all. It's absolutely about the client. You have to understand the power of the work we do. It's inestimable. And I don't think you can predict what's going to happen with each client. So if you have a set way of working with each client, be prepared to have that blown out of the water when you start listening to your client, because she will send you off a completely different track. That's why I'm still in this business 40 years later, because if every client was predictable, well, I'd have shot myself years ago out of sheer boredom. I mean, for goodness sakes, we're dealing with living, breathing human beings who have emotions and feelings, and they change. We change, all of us, from month to month, week to week, day to day, hour to hour. You have to take the client into consideration, and you have to understand what you're asking a client to do. You are asking her to change the way she presents herself to the world. Do you realize how vast, huge, enormous, massive that might be to most people? When I went to have my colours done, it was one of these days, and up to that point, I had been wearing. You'll die laughing. Let me just tip this over. This is sorry. This is just a basket colour. I don't know what you call this. Wicker, is it? I don't know. Raffia or something. I'd been wearing a suit in this colour with I can't see the colour, but a pale corally pink, well, it was peach really, shiny blouse underneath. What was I thinking? And when I went to this day, it was at my friend's house. And when I walked in, my friend said, "What are you wearing?" And I went in a black leather skirt. I went in black, shiny patent shoes. Nearly killed myself because it was snowing. And these were heels like that. And Barbara's drive was like that. How I got down the drive without killing myself, I've no idea. And a grey, it was charcoal red and white jumper. Did I go in a jacket? Very probably. And it would have been black. And yet for months up to this point, I'd been wearing basket colours and looking terribly unwell. And I went that day in the colours that I loved. And I went, because I'm a red, and this is what we do, bear this in mind, if you ever get a red, we challenge you. I went there deliberately to see what she was going to do with me. Oh dear. She was good. Yes, she worked out easily that I was a winter, no problem. I mean, she came up with some really strange colours, told me to wear emerald green. No, I don't think so. Just because it's in the wallet, I doubt it very much. Where are you going to find a cool emerald green in the British shops? Not on your Nelly. But having my colours done changed my life completely, because before then, I was destined. So what year was this? We'd been to, yes, I bought a house, had it for a year, sold it, everything in it except a box of books and a box of records, and went to Israel. Lived on a kibbutz. We went for a month and we stayed 5. Changed my life completely, taught me that the world did not begin and end in Sheffield, thank God. And I went with my then fiance, and we came back because he'd got a job. We came back to the UK because he'd got a job, and we moved down south, and we were all set to get married. So I was set for 2.2 kids, a Volvo estate, and amateur dramatics on a Thursday afternoon. And I tell you now, if I had followed that route, I would be in prison now for at least GBH, if not murder, because I was never, ever designed for that. But that's where I was going, especially wearing basket colours. And when we came back to the UK and I had my colours done for the first time at this day, where I nearly broke my neck walking down the drive, and she told me I was a winter, it changed my life. Totally changed my life. Made me realise I did not have to follow that, for me, dreadful path. It might be absolutely for you. All my sister ever wanted to do was get married and have children. But for me, I would have been a terrible mother. I'm a great auntie, by the way, but a terrible mother. I'm far too selfish, far too outspoken. I haven't patience. I want to get on with my life. I couldn't have done that. I would seriously have messed up everybody else's life. It saved my life. Do you see the repercussions? Can you imagine what my children would have suffered? I'd have been divorced. They'd have gone to a boarding school. I mean, seriously, I would have messed up so many lives. So the point I'm trying to make is we have the power to change not only the practical aspects of people's lives, but the way they feel about themselves. So when I had my colours done and realised I was this bright, dramatic winter, we didn't do colour psychology at the time. We just did the physical colour and the style personality. But when I realised that, it made me sit and look at what I was doing, who I was being with as well. And it gave me permission, excuse me, if you like, it gave me permission to consider changing what I was doing. So what we're doing is we're giving our clients a moment in time to consider, to reflect where they are, what they're doing, who they are being, and whether they're happy with all that. And I wasn't happy. I was absolutely, I think I'd have been the bride, like in, what's it called? Smokey and the Bandit. Where he finds the bride in the middle of the road and she's just walked down the aisle and then run out of the church. That would have been me. Absolutely. Can't imagine me in a fluffy meringue dress, can you? No. And I could tell you so many similar stories about this very subject. I've got clients coming out of from my records, from memories. And as I said, they're all real stories. I've got clients who have discovered through the work we've done together. You might think it's just colour analysis. No, it flipping isn't. This is a moment in time to understand the power of what you do, where women have discovered that they really dress to please someone else. That could be their husband, their partner, their father, their mother, their great Uncle Mordred, or whatever. But they're not dressing for themselves. And that's my quest, that's my journey, that's my raison d'etre. To challenge that pattern in people's lives and ask people, well, give them a moment to think, talk to them about the options and ask them, how do you want to carry on? Not to tell them, yes, as a red, I want to say, this is you. You'd look absolutely fabulous wearing sky blue pink with yellow dots on. And that's what I want you to do forever and a day. But I've learned my clients can't do that today. They need to think it through and they need me in the background to support them. Think of that. That makes for you a fabulous ongoing business because these clients will never leave you because they'll always want your support. They will learn to trust you because you've opened their eyes to the possibilities, to their potential. I warn you, you can't get rid of the little beggars after that. They still, 20 odd years later, I've still got clients who want my advice, my help Will you check this out? I need an outfit for such and such. 20 years later, and they still come back. Isn't that fab? I think it's positive because I'm not the most approachable of people. Let's be right. I am bossy. I say what I think. Hopefully, I do it with love because I really want people to become who they were always meant to be. I get exasperated and I show it. And I slap people around the back of the bonds with their full permission. And yet they still come back. Now, I'm sure you're much nicer than me, much more approachable than me. And I don't say this with any great pride, but I want you to know that 2 of my clients left their controlling husbands after discovering their colours and discovering who they really are and what they really, really wanted from life. Because as they took the decision to become who they were always meant to be, they needed to make changes and they had to stop living to the demands and expectations of someone else. In this case, it was 2 husbands, 2 completely non-associated clients at 2 different times. But they went on to live and lead lives of meaning and fulfillment. And they were desperately unhappy when they came to see me. They didn't come for a ruddy color analysis. I'm not decrying the process. The process is brilliant. Saved my life, saved the lives of so many people. But I'm just trying to get over to you that this isn't about color. It isn't about style. It's about confidence. It's about giving your client that moment in time, that moment of, it could be brief, but it's a moment of illumination where they get to see who they could really be and maybe even what their purpose is. And you have that power. Do you realize? You have that power. So Brunhilde's client had this choice to make. We sat there and had this coffee and we talked. And don't forget, this is hundreds of years ago before I had all the benefit of the work that I've done since then on color psychology and archetypes and MBTI and all the other stuff. I didn't have any of that then. I've done all that since. Now we'd be going through a different conversation. But I just could see that she needed to make a choice, and it wasn't for me to make that choice. So she could embrace the cool winter that she truly was, or continue to play the soft muted summer so that she could continue to fit in with her friends. And it was her choice. Powerful still, because it's her responsibility. I'm not making the decision for her. My job is to show her the options, tell her what the consequences are, and then discuss what works for her, not what works for me. She chose to fit in. She chose to carry on wearing her soft muted summer colours, all one colour, because she liked her friends and she liked doing the things that she was doing. And that's absolutely spiffy doodless because the power is then in her hands. So this isn't just about the power we've got. It's the opening of a glimpse at the power that your client could have if she so choose. And the power was in her decision. And that's fine because we're not dictators. We are consultants. As a bossy red, I can be very dictatorial. Ah, dear. But we're consultants. And do you understand, a consultant means that somebody comes to you and consults you. They come to you to ask for your best advice, your opinion, your knowledge, and your experience. So our goal isn't to be right. Our goal is to create a happy client. So this lovely lady went away. I'm not sure that she was totally happy, but she'd made her own decision. And I said to her, any time you can choose to change because you have the power. They can take away our liberties. They can tell us where we can be and who we can be with and how many hours a day we can go out and all the other stuff that comes up in 1984 and Animal Farm and all these wonderful books where people predicted the future and saw what they can do, the authorities can do. But what they can't do is they cannot take away what you think, which is what Orwell said in 1984. They can change you physically. They can stop you doing things physically, force you to do things physically, but they cannot stop the way you think. And what you think produces the ability to choose. You have choice. So does your client. So we can help all our clients look and feel utterly fabulous because the choices they may ultimately make for themselves might scupper any chance of that. And that's their choice. So for this lady, wearing cool winter combinations would have looked better. But for her, where she was, she chose to stay here. That's the power of choice. We have the power to change people's lives for the better with just a few hints and tips. And we can give them away for free or for a fee while munching a mince pie at a Christmas party. So I'm going to go on and tell you, because I saw this lady some years later. I'll tell you about that in a moment. But I just want to make sure that I encourage you. The purpose of doing this was to encourage you to get out there and do this stuff. So if this sounds a great way to live your life, because I love it, being able to help people become who they were always meant to be. Oh my God. There's nothing quite like it. That's the fee. That's the payoff for me. Yes, I get paid for it. Of course I do. I'm not daft. But also, it's just fabulous. So if you are feeling inspired and you want to turn I don't know what the word is for 2020. It's not been horrible for us. It's what you make it at the end of the day. It's been tumultuous, been weird. It's been really frustrating because I can't stand anybody telling me what to do. I'll make my own mind up. Thank you very much. But we can turn next year round, and you don't have to wait until January the 1st, for goodness sakes. How silly is that? But you could start working on this now. You could take your existing skills, if you're already in colour and style. This is the perfect time. What is it? What's today, the 16th? 9 days to Christmas Crumble Day. Offer some gift vouchers so that people can come to you in the new year or in the week between Christmas and New Year when they're sick of whatever it is they're sick of, people that they have to meet with. I don't understand that at all. This Christmas thing about bubbles and meeting with people that you don't want to see the rest of the year. Anyway, we lock the door on Christmas Day, Neil and I. If you knock on the door, don't even answer it. Stay away. It's our day. It's fabulous. And that's been going on for 9 years. Is it 9 years? Yes, 9 years now. But you could be using this time over the next, what we might refer to as the festive period, to update your skills, refresh your skills, learn some new ones, and start talking to your potential clients about what you can do for them. Not just, and like I said, I don't mean to decry the process of colour analysis, but we are not here to tell people their best colours. That's not what we're doing. We're here to help them become better people, become who they were always meant to be, or to deal with the stuff they've got to deal with at the moment, looking their best, feeling fabulous. So we've got some December specials on, which I need to tell you about because several people have emailed and said, there's so much. And then I'll tell you about seeing this other lady some months later. Now, our business plan for this year was to raise all our prices, all of the professional level training courses. And then COVID hit. And suddenly our business nosedived, as I'm sure everybody else's did, because people went into panic, didn't know what to do. Well, we don't work like that. We might suddenly go, pardon? And then we just look for other ways to build our business, and we did. So I designed, wrote, and presented a brand new course called Colour Your Client Fabulous Online in 10 days. Nearly killed me. I'll never do it again. All right. So, but now we're back on track. Those price increases will happen in 2021, everything. So that means this is a fabulous time to get the training you want so that you can launch your own or relaunch your own wonderful business, helping people to not only look and feel fabulous, but to change what's going on. A lot of people are looking now and thinking, I don't want my life to be like this anymore. There are a lot of people who've lost their job or are about to lose their job or have had their hours cut or whatever, or it's made them sit and think, I didn't like that job anyway. I want to do something different. You are the perfect person to help them. Interviews they need clothes for, job promotion, they need to maybe change direction. They need to start impressing other people by the way they dress and present themselves. So I was going to tell you what happened when I met this lovely lady again. It was several years later. So if you remember, we were talking about when you give your client this moment of illumination, that you talk to them about what they could be, who they could be, what they could wear, how their life could change, and you talk to them about the consequences and help them through, not with the final decision, but through the decision-making process. You can't help everybody because this lady, as I said, she decided, no, I can't handle the changes for being over here. I want to continue with my life as it is. So I will choose to stick with what I've got. Absolutely fan-dabby-dozy. As I said, some clients need time to think about it. So don't expect them to make a decision straight away. That's not fair, especially if they're blue. If they're blue, they need probably months. And this lady she had quite a strong blue tone, I can see now. Some clients will muse on what you say for weeks and months, even years, before they decide to take the plunge and change to become the person they were always meant to be. Now, most of the time, you'll never find that out. And it depends on your perspective. I don't see that as a negative. I just know the ripple effect happens. I know that by me having a conversation with someone, by introducing them to this moment of illumination where we open the portals to what could happen, it's not my responsibility to see her through that. I'm not a let's walk, let me put my arm around you and let's walk together. That's not my role in life. I'm a signposter. I'm very clear on this. I'm an encourager and a signposter. This is what you could do, your choice. Some of you might be nurturers. You might be able to walk the walk. I can't do that. That's not my speciality. That's not my gift at all. So I very often don't find out what happens, but I know that these things happen because sometimes I find out by other means. But in this particular case, I had a moment of pure fulfillment. Several years later, I was the guest speaker at a women's event quite locally, and this lady was there. And she deliberately came up to me before I'd said a word. As I was setting my stall out, as it were, with the drapes and everything to talk about. I don't even remember what I talked about. She came up to me and she said, "I bet you don't remember me." And I looked her up and down and I said, "My goodness, I think I do." And she explained to me that she'd seen my name as the guest speaker for this event. She wasn't a member of the group, but she'd bought a ticket deliberately to be able to come and speak to me. Isn't that lovely? Aren't people lovely? I mean, just so lovely. So that she could thank me in person for all that advice I'd given her all those years ago. And she explained it had taken us some considerable time to admit that she wasn't feeling good wearing her muted summer colours. And she decided to go back to wearing her sharply contrasting, bright winter colours. And you could just see it in her whole, it wasn't just the colours, it was just in her whole demeanour, the way she walked with confidence, the way she spoke with me, the way she just looked fabulous. I have no idea what I spoke about that night. I haven't a clue, because it didn't matter. That was the purpose of me being offered that speaking position that evening, so that lady and I could meet up and we could both have a moment where we celebrated illumination, the power of colour to change lives. I'll never forget that little tiny conversation we had over a mince pie at a Christmas party where I went home with a headache because I couldn't do anything about anything there and then. Then we had a conversation and I couldn't persuade her, because at that time I really wanted to persuade her to become this magnificent, cool winter woman. But that wasn't my role. My role was to sow the seeds, to give her the field of potentiality, to introduce her to this field of potentiality and say to her, that's yours. It's not mine, it's yours. Here are all the bits I think you need. I'd like you to at least think about them. That's what my role is in life. I don't know if that's your role. But all I want to leave you with is this, that do you realize how immensely valuable the work we do is? Do you? Do you realize what you do for people? We have the power to change people's lives for the better with just a conversation here, just a hint there, just a tip there. It is immense. This isn't just colour analysis. This isn't just, ooh, let's find out what your best darkest neutral is. That's your process. They're elements of what you do. What you do is you work with a living, breathing human being who wants more. That's why they come to you. And they come to you because something about you tells them that you are the person to work with. So I want to encourage you to use this time now, December, early January, perhaps when you're chafing at the bit because you can't be with the people you want to be with, or that you've got to be with people that you don't want to be with, to think about how you're going to change your life. Think about what colour's done for you. If you're not a colour analyst yet, get started, especially if you'd like to train with me. You need therapy if you do. You could be setting up your business right now over these next few weeks, ready to get 2021 making a huge difference to so many clients and to you. You deserve this. Because let's be real, life is too short to faff about. Seriously, you have no idea what is around the corner. None whatsoever. We could all be bombed in our beds tonight, and wouldn't that be a shame that you didn't live the purpose for which you were put on the planet? That would be a tragedy. Please don't let tragedy strike. Please get out there and just flipping do it. Thank you so much for listening. I love doing this because this is my thing. This is what I love talking about. I want you to be the best version of who you are. I want you to become who you were always meant to be. You've got gifts and talents. Oh, please use them. Please use them. Please change people's lives, because when you change your life, you too will have moments of pure fulfillment like I had with that lady. I'll never forget that night. I don't remember the name of the group I was speaking with. I could take you to it wasn't a church hall, like a village hall that I was in. I could take you there now. I could tell you exactly where I was stood in the room when this lady came to speak to me, and I can tell you how I felt. I can re-feel it now. It was magical, totally magical. That's why I do what I do. And that's why I sit here and blether on like this, hopefully encouraging you to do the same.